Oh, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? As y'all can see, your boy's running behind. I made it too, D-Rob. Oh, man. It's been one of those weeks, y'all. But we here. We back in the building. Missed you too, my guy. What up, yo? Good to be amongst y'all once again. What up, boo? Brother Craig. How's it going, sir? All right, let's get into it. All right, y'all. Welcome to Morning Motivation, your daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. I'm your host, Jamon, and I'm thrilled to have you join me as we kickstart this day with positivity and purpose. So whether you're here for connection to see like-minded individuals, you definitely come to the right spot. And as you're coming in, go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know you're here. Also, if you want to buy your boy some coffee, it's pinned to the top of the chat and there's a QR code on the screen. So, we've been talking about a lot of feelings and emotions and how, based off the show Inside Out, and how anxiety plays a part, how stress plays a part, shame, joy is how you can't have one dominant emotion. They have to all work together. You can't exclude some feelings. Guys, I know we like to do this. We like to exclude, feelings and emotions and just be stoic and be the man at all times. Well, life isn't quite set up that way because we run into problems, we run into challenges that require a different kind of touch, a different kind of approach. And this is one of the reasons why we hit the path or hit the wall on the path to our success. Because we're not balanced. Oh, man. So D-Ross said last night they had a game, hurricane. Okay, made y'all reschedule things. Yo, the ref is out of pocket. So approach ref trying to see if he called me the same word. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. D-Rob about to show him what that wall look like. So I'm from Texas, baby. We don't play that around these parts. Oh man. What about you, Canada? Hump day. Oh yeah, it feel like a hump day too, y'all. But yeah, that's why we hit this wall, man, on our path to success because we're not emotionally balanced. And so one of the things that we want to get into today, I'm not sure how long we're gonna go today. I'm gonna try to be out by 8, but try to go longer than 7:30. So you know how they go. Got a lot of things happening, a lot of irons in the fire. So I'm gonna hop right into it. We talked last year around this time about goals and the importance of setting goals. So I want to do a quick recap. Can somebody tell me what a goal is? Can somebody tell me what a goal is? It ain't got to be nothing long and drawn out. Just something that just a little synopsis, if you will, of what a goal is. Because and not an apology, but I want to do a correction on something because I talked about goals a lot last year. deciding what you want, setting that goal, and then taking the steps to get there, right? But I didn't fully break down what that looks like. And not only did I do it, did I not specify it on the show, but I didn't specify it in my life either. I put the focus in the wrong place, so today I want to do a little housekeeping. D-Rob says, been dealing with some things where people around me are battling things mentally. Is it bad that I don't let it affect me? I don't want to say I dismiss it, but you know what I'm saying. Yep, I know exactly what you're saying. Not my ministry, bruh. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own path. And if you start trying to rescue people from their either mismanagement, you try to rescue people from their process, then you are making them dependent on you for the answers. And in a sense, what's the old saying? God won't bring it to you if he can't bring you through it. And some things are for us to go through. And so if you try to shortcut that process for me, then I'm going to look to you instead of looking to God. I'm going to look to you instead of finding the answers in another way. If you keep helping me over the hurdle, then how am I going to create a good way for it to get over a hurdle? If somebody just gave me the light, then why would I create a light bulb if there was never no darkness? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes most times it's the struggle. It's the hard times that we go through that get us to where we need to be. I'm sure my daughter's listening right now, but she just made an amazing observation as I was passing her on the stairs as she's on her way to school. She's been on break. And she comes down the stairs and I can tell, I hear the tiredness in her voice. And she says, I should have started working on my sleep schedule before now. And first off, she's 13, so. And I kind of side-eyed her a little bit when she said I should have worked on my sleep schedule. But the girl is brilliant. I can't even front. She's brilliant at a young age. And so she has a much deeper understanding of things that I didn't even fathom when I was 13. Yeah, first day back at school, she's been used to staying up later and later, and she already recognizes now, because she didn't adjust her sleep schedule sooner, she's going to struggle today. Now, this is coming from a 13-year-old who understands that there has to be some kind of routine to keep us going, to keep us balanced. Let's see. Oh, y'all just talking. Sometimes you have to excuse yourself from things that take away negativity or they drain you. Stay around assets, not liabilities. Facts. And so, as we've been talking about this whole thing, the goals is what I wanted to kind of sit back and revisit. I harped on knowing what you want, and it is still true. Nope, you're good, bro. I mean, it's part of what happens. When we go through emotional things, when we don't learn to deal with it, when we run from fear and perceive failures, it makes it hard to stay on task. And so everybody creates goals, right? Because having a goal makes you feel good up to a point. Having a goal makes you feel good up to a point. And so today I want to talk about the difference between your goals versus your objectives in defining that path to success. Because we're all looking and heading for success. We want success, whether it's successful families, successful careers, success in sports, athletics, or whatever we do. We bowl. We want to have success. Nobody wants to be the worst bowler on the team. Nobody want to have the ugliest house on the block. Nobody wants to have the worst spouse of all spouses. We want to have success. We want to choose right. We want to make good decisions. The problem, however, is that the goal is the long-term result of the thing. We talk about the goal being the mountaintop. I want to get to this thing right here. So now you got to climb all these hurdles to get to the mountaintop to reach your goal. But a goal symbolizes the result or just the end of a thing. And it leaves out the objectives. It doesn't put as much focus as it should on the objectives. And so goals are big picture, long term. They're things that you want to achieve. Like I want to improve in my public speaking. This is what I wanted a few years ago. I want to be a better public speaker. So I just started talking more. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that got me to my goals faster. Give me a 1 if you think because I talked more, I got to my goals faster. We've always been told that practice makes perfect, right? But there's no such thing as perfect. Practice makes permanent. If you're doing something badly and you do more of it, does it make you better? If you're doing something badly or poorly and you do more of that, does it make you better? Do you become more successful because you did it more? The answer is no. It doesn't work that way. If you practice more of the same bad habits, if I don't learn how to speak better, if I don't learn tools and tips and practice, if I just show up and start speaking in places, and I'm speaking in more places, but I don't go learn how to be actually a better speaker, then I'm not going to be a better speaker. I'm going to get better at being bad. I'm going to get better at being bad. So the objectives are the short-term actions and activities. And this is the thing that I neglected to talk about early on when I talked about goals last year. And I know there are a lot of people out there who, they're big on the goals and they talk about having SMART goals. Is anybody familiar with the term SMART goals? It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. SMART goals. The characteristics of a good goal: they're SMART. They are measured. The problem with the goal is I just say, I want to be I want to be a coach. I want to be a coach. And so I go and I volunteer with the local little league or Pee Wee league teams, and I'm there. And I'm there every day, season after season. But you don't have nothing specific other than showing up, You don't have nothing that's measurable, nothing that's achievable. Maybe winning may be your achievement relevant, but being a part of the coaching staff and being called to coach, is that really the goal that you wanted? So instead of saying I want to be a coach, I want to be a head coach one day. And if I want to be a head coach, what skills do I need? What knowledge do I need to have? What approach should I take? And so if I were doing it, I would look at some of the head coaches that are most respected and I would study them. I would find out how they got to where they are, what habits they have, and I would set goals based off of those. I would set my SMART goals or my objectives to copy the blueprint. Copy the blueprint. I just can't have a goal, because goals, we'll get more into that in a minute. Goals give you goals give you the direction, but it don't give you all the steps. Now, the objectives, they're very specific. They're very action oriented. And they kind of get you to the broader goal, the bigger picture. The objectives break down goals into manageable tasks to help you stay on track. That's the definition that I got over there, right? So I want to share with you, if I can pull it up. Yeah. I want to share with you a video clip by this author that talked about, he caught my attention when I was studying, my life. And I'm going to talk about my life here in a minute. It's been a little bit of a show. Been a little bit of a show. But this guy in particular, he talks about goals are dumb. And he wrote a book, and he was interviewed on this show, and this is kind of what he said and why. And I want to get your thoughts on it.
You say goals are dumb in the book.
My favorite chaps say that goals are dumb. I think that if you set a goal, at best, you achieve it, but what if you could have achieved so much more? And at worst, you ruin your self-esteem.
So it puts a ceiling on it, you think?
Exactly. A goal puts a ceiling on your ability. See, a goal by definition is an end towards which energy is aimed. I believe set an objective with no limitations, because an objective, though a small difference, has a major impact on your life. An objective is simply effort in a direction. So I don't believe in setting a goal, because you set a goal, if you don't hit it, you fail. I realized, stop setting goals, because here's what we do, Kelly. By 26, I want to be married. I want to have children. 30, I want a house. But then by 31, you're single with no kids, and all of a sudden you're questioning your worth. You're questioning your esteem. You're questioning who you are. Because if you set a goal, that's the easiest way to fail. I no longer set goals. I just set objectives with no limitations, and I look back and it ends up proud.
So what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think setting goals are dumb? Personally, I think that was a little clickbaitish for the sales machine. I don't think setting goals are dumb. I didn't want to mess his name up. I know it's Emmanuel. I'm not sure if it's Aku or Acho. I don't know how to say his last name, so I didn't want to mess it up. And so I just did it anyway. Shout out to me. I tell you. So he says setting goals are dumb. And I think for the broader purpose of it, I mean, what he's saying is not wrong. So coming from a goal setter, I don't think I think that sounded like, okay, yep. Tell me how you really feel, boo. You need to know your direction. You need to know where you want to go. But I think the problem comes in is when we set these big goals without setting the objectives, we allow for distractions. It's easier to get thrown off course when there's a big We have the direction and the goal. I know I want to be a coach, whether I want to be a football coach or anything in athletics, or I want to be a motivational or a life coach or anything. I know the goal, but if I want to be a life coach, that is such a broad topic. Do I want to do family? Do I want to do relationship? Do I want to do children? Do I want to have whether it's finances or health? I mean, there's so many things when you talk about a life coach. And if I'm trying to do everything, guess what I'm going to experience? Burnout. Burnout. But if you have objectives with those goals, you know, yes, I want to be a life coach, or I want to be a head coach in the NFL, or I want to be the head coach at a high school. I want to be the winningest head coach. Then there's a lot of specific things that needs to happen on that path. And so the problem I think that I've run across more so lately is that I have been working really hard for the last year doing a few different things. And I've had some successes, I've had some setbacks, I've had some family challenges. And because I have my goal, because I have my directions, it has allowed me to still be in the area of where I want to be, even though I've gotten knocked off course a little bit. But this is one thing that my wife is really good at. She's really good at creating systems. And because she creates systems, she understands what objectives are. And she understands the power of systems. And there are a lot of people out there who their personality is perfectly suited for systems. And as parents, we understand that as it relates to our children. We know our children need a bedtime, right, Bree? We know our children need a bedtime. Why? Because if they don't get to sleep at a certain time or get a certain amount of sleep, they're going to be difficult to manage. They're not going to be in a position to have success, whatever that success looks like for a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. And it's going to just make a rough morning. So they need a certain amount of sleep so they're not cranky and irritable all day, or at least until they get that nap in. We know this. However, as adults, as we become teenagers, as we become adults, we start rebelling against the system. We don't want the routine. We don't want the discipline of a system, of a structure, which is why a lot of us aren't in relationships, because we don't want the structure of a relationship. We don't want to be accountable to nobody. This is why some of us can't have successful businesses, because we don't want to be accountable to people. We want to do it the way we want to do it, not the way they want it done. And the customer is what? Always right, because they're spending their hard-earned money. And if they don't like your product, and if you could do it this way to fit this need, you'd sell more of it. But no, I don't want a system. I want to sell it like this, and somebody's going to buy it. I've had to come to that realization on quite a few occasions. Sometimes what we want is counterproductive to what we need. Sometimes the goal itself is great, but we're not the people that's worthy of that goal yet, because we haven't went through the objectives. And the objectives are what is the actual roadmap. It's the Waze, it's the Google Maps, it's Apple Maps. It takes us around the construction zone that tells us when there's potential danger ahead. The objectives gives us insights to all of that stuff. So why am I saying this? Because I'm talking about systems. Ooh, somebody's ear just perked up. Talking about systems and how valuable systems are. How important systems are.
Not having achieved that goal.
Stop it. How valuable, how important systems are. And I've never seen objectives as systems, but in a sense it is. And so I want to share another video with you about this guy who really breaks it down. He's also an author, and he wrote a book called Big Think or Think Big or something like that. You know what? Here we go. Let's get to it.
Goal setting is fascinating because it's sort of a broken process in many respects. This is the way a goal works. You say to yourself, when I achieve whatever the thing is, that's how I'll know I'll have succeeded, and I'm going to do everything I can to get to that point as quickly as possible. What that means is you exist in a failure state for a long time until you reach that goal if it's a long-range goal. And so as you evaluate your process, all you get is the negative feedback of not having achieved.
He said you exist in a failure state for a long time. Put a one in the chat if you kind of felt like that. You felt like, okay, you got this goal and you're doing all these things, but you haven't got there yet, so you feel a little less. You feel a little unsure of yourself. I felt this quite a few times.
That goal. Perhaps as you move closer to it, there's some positive feedback. But if the goal is really the end state that you're seeking out, there's a lot of failure before you get there. And now here's the thing, when you do get there, it's a massive anticlimax. Mm-hmm. So there are people who achieve the highest highs, people who achieve the highest highs in athletics, in business, and if you talk to them and you ask them to describe what it's like to reach their goals, they say things like, I got there and it was an incredible anticlimax. The minute I got there, I had to start something new, I had to find a new goal. And that's partly because there's something really unsatisfying about the moment of reaching the goal. Unless it has its own benefits that come from reaching the goal, if it's just a sort of signpost, that doesn't do much for us. It doesn't nourish us psychologically. And what that ends up meaning is that we have to try and find something new. So really, if you look at life as a series of goals, which for many of us it is, it's a period of being unsuccessful in achieving the goal, then hitting the goal, then feeling like you haven't really got much from that goal, going to the next one, and it's a sort of series of escalating goals.
I talked about this probably right before the holidays last year. It's like you go through all this effort, you climb this mountain, you get to the top, and you like, yeah, I did it. Because once you hit the goal, you've reached the end of that journey. And it's like you don't take the time to celebrate it or enjoy it. And even if you did take time to do it, what's next, right? And then you got to go down the mountain and into the valley and up the next hill. And it's this repetitious thing that constantly happens. And because we place the focus on the goal, we experience way more feelings of failure. The feelings of fear creep in a lot more. And it makes it harder to truly appreciate or embrace some of your victories. I want to run a marathon. I don't want to run a marathon. Example only. I want to run this marathon, and so I'm going to set this goal of running the marathon, and so I'm going to go out and I'm going to train, I'm going to run. I'm going to get a trainer and I'm going to do all the things necessary. And then the marathon happens. I race well. I finish. Because in a marathon, some people are really big on, winning the marathon. Because nobody remembers the second place in marathons. Only the first person crossing that line is the one that really gets all the prize or the celebration. But for a marathon, especially the longer the marathon, finishing is a victory because it's a grind and people hit a literal physical wall a lot of times in marathons. And so if you want to run a 5K, which is 3.2, 3.4 miles versus the Boston Marathon or the New York Marathon, it's 26 miles. Having the goal to run a marathon versus having a goal to run the Boston Marathon. You see the levels in goal changes. But if you don't create systems that'll give you success on the small goals, it's going to be nearly impossible to get success on the larger goals. And so that's, for me personally, why I think having the objectives, creating the systems will get you the faster success. Well, excuse me, not the faster success, but get you the long-term success. And I think most of us would agree with that. But there's one problem. Most of us are just rebellious. Most of us don't want to be told what to do. Like I said earlier, we good when it comes to giving our children the routines and the discipline. But left to our own devices, that's why most of us are so frustrated with our lives. Because we just have the goal and we're flying by the seat of our pants. We're doing 130 and a 70. And we trying to get to the next city though. And we just hoping for the best. Just hoping. Setting the objectives, pre-planning your routes or your routes. It makes all the difference. Because I'm in a space of my life right now where I've had to reset on a few things. I let some things go to create more time, and I'm seeing the fruits of that labor because I'm a lot more flexible, I'm a lot more nimble, but I also see the ceiling. I see that where I am right now is a limited time only space. I don't have long to float in this space because I am kind of monkey branching, going from one branch to the other, right? And the space that I'm trying to get to, I don't have all the objectives set. I have the goal, but not all the objectives. And so because I have this goal, when this don't go right and that don't go right, I feel frustrated. I feel slightly defeated. But if I focus on the objectives, then I break it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. And instead of being result-oriented, I become action-oriented. And that's where I am right now in my life, trying to become more action-oriented because I can't control the outcomes. I don't know how fast something's going to take off, how slow it's going to take off, if it's ever going to take off. I don't have control over the how. The how, I've always said, that's God's business. The what is what I can control. I can control the small things that I do every day. I can control, as my daughter would say, I can control the time I go to bed. I can start working on that. Is it going to happen the first night? Nope. It might take a week to get back on a certain schedule. It might take a month to get your eating habits back in line to get you on a weight loss track. It's the small objectives to where, yes, I know, let's say I wanted to lose 40 pounds. 40 pounds is the goal. And if I'm stepping on that scale every day and I'm watching it go 38, 40, 36, 39, 39, 42, I'm going to get discouraged and I'm going to say bump it and I'm going to go eat a donut. But if I got objectives, I'm going to eat between these times. I'm going to eat this. This is my meal plan for the week. And so now the actions are now the focal point. The actions are the focal point and not the overall goal. And so now, even if you see your scale isn't moving, you know you're still doing the appropriate actions. Make adjustments, make tweak, and you'll watch it go down. Bruh, D-Rob says, my cousin hit me up yesterday. Bruh, I just wish things would go right. I was like, man, here we go. Man, I just wish things would go right. Yeah, man. That's how it is. That's how it is. Because most people have this idea of what they want. They have this thing that they're reaching toward. Oh, he calling you to diagnose his problems, huh? And when it's not easy, when getting to that thing is not easy, we experience the feelings of failure, the frustrations, all of that stuff. We experience it in ways that, D-Rod, you a funny guy. D-Rod said, dude, cousin said, my car not starting. You're like, well, you need a new battery. Maybe you need a new battery. He was like, nah, bruh. I was like, when you change the battery, what year is the car? He gonna tell me 09. See, people are rebellious. Even sometimes when you give them a solution, they reject it because it requires they do some work. It's wild. So yeah, bro. It's his cross to bear. You got your cross to bear. He got his to bear. And how dare you save somebody from their journey? All you doing is making that journey last longer, making their insecurities be longer. But anyway, let's get back to it.
A really good example of this is say, smartwatches or Fitbits or exercise watches. People, when they get those watches, a lot of them hit on the number 10,000. I want to walk 10,000 steps. When you do that, the thing will beep. You'll feel pretty good about it for a minute, but then that feels a little hollow, and the goal escalates over time. People will describe going from 10 to 11 to 12 to 14,000 steps to the point where they're moving through injuries, through stress-related injuries, because the goal is there. They respond to the goal more than they do to their internal cues. And basically, there's something really unfulfilling about that. The reason the goal keeps escalating and becoming more and more intense is because when they achieve the goal, they don't actually get anything for that achievement. And so goals generally, I think, are in many ways broken processes. I think part of the problem with goals is that they don't tell you how to get to where you're going. A better thing to do is to use a system. So the idea behind a system rather than a goal is that a system is saying things like, I'm a writer. My goal is to finish writing this book, but I'm not going to think about it that way. Eventually, I'll have 100,000 words, but what my system will be that for an hour every morning, I will sit in front of my computer screen and I will type. It doesn't matter what that looks like. I'm not going to evaluate the number of words. I'm not going to set some benchmark, some artificial number or benchmark that I should reach. What I'm going to do is just say, here's my system, an hour a day in front of the screen, will do what I can, bam. And the thing is, every time you set a system,
and so he's calling it a system, and it is, but I think a more accurate term is objectives. I'm going to sit in I want to write this book. I want to write this novel. So I'm going to sit at my desk every morning from 6 to 7. I'm going to just write for an hour. I'm just going to flow, let the ideas come out. I'm writing on a topic a day or a chapter a day or 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is. You are focusing on the actions, the objectives. Today, my objection is, it's almost like when you start your company and people ask you what your mission statement is or what your vision is. And I was confused about that for the longest time. I mean, literally up until like maybe last year. The vision, and I was confused about vision versus mission, but I was confused on how they connected, because like my father figure company, right? The vision is to be the #1 resource for fatherhood and family success. But the mission is the day-to-day. The vision is the goal. The mission, however, is the day-to-day operations, changing families through fatherhood. That is the mission. And that mission is how the day-to-day operations, the goals, all that stuff lays out to get us to the vision. So the objectives is what's going to get you to the goal. But there's something about the objectives, doing the objectives time and time again, mastering them. There's a certain level of proficiency. So on the journey, it's the objectives that get you to the person that you need to be to have the goal that you want to have. It's the small things. If you want to have the best lawn in the community, or you want to have a clean house, you can't walk by a piece of paper on the floor 20 times and not pick it up. You can't go a whole week without actually cleaning something in your house. If you want to have a nice community, you can't drive by the piece of paper that's going across your lawn. I mean, there's certain objectives that you have to set for the goal that you want. And I think most of us are fully aware of it. However, there's other people around us. There's things that come up and there's distractions. And when you don't have a system, when you don't have a routine, when you don't have objectives, it's easy to get distracted. When you rebel against structure, you have a hard time finding the fulfillment in the goal, because it's the structure that makes you, that creates that internal thing inside of you that prepares you to have the success that you want. But most of us are rebellious, and we reject that. We see things one way, and there's many ways to get things done. And in certain times, some systems or some things work better than other things. But it's all about managing those emotions, being flexible, not letting anger or shame or joy or anxiety dictate. They all need to be in balance. They all need to work together. Because what worked last year may not work this year. So we got to find a new way. Somebody sell you a product, it don't work as advertised. It happens. So sometimes you got to scrap that and go try something else. Nothing is permanent. And the way technology is changing right now, I remember dial up. I remember sitting there for 10 minutes just trying to get online. I remember the flip phone that if you tried to take a picture on it, you might as well drew it. And now these things are second nature. Right now on my computer screen, I have 1 browser, 2 browser, 3 browser, 4 browser, streaming software, YouTube up over here. And my computer is still just flowing along. Let me have tried this a few years ago. No bandwidth. Technology is changing. So we can't get stuck in old, and that's the downside to having systems. Sometimes we get stuck in the system because it worked. Well, what worked to yesterday may not work tomorrow. We have to have our emotions in balance and in check. And so next week, we're going to start a series, and we're going to talk about, we've talked about attachment styles, we've talked about love languages, but we've yet to talk about personality. One of those is called the DISC assessment. Another one is what is it? Myers-Briggs, that's what it is. Myers-Briggs. It's like 5 of them. And we're going to go into it. And I think a big component to having success is fully understanding who you are and how you operate. It makes being in a relationship easier when you know who you are and how you operate, but also how your partner thinks and operates. The type of manager you may have at work, you may have employees. Understanding the personalities will give you an insight into that. You see, all of this is part of managing your emotions, becoming the person. You know, I say it 1,000 times, I'd rather be right than look right. But the world is a little opposite. The world wants to look right because they want to impress. The world wants to look right because they want to feel like they are where they are when they haven't gotten there yet. No, I'm okay. I'll take the slow path because I understand when I get to where I'm going, I'm never leaving because I'm going to be qualified. I'll be the person that deserves to be there, and then I'll be a master of it when I get there. And so understanding not just your love language, not just your partner's love language, understanding your attachment styles. Why am I this way? What happened in my life? What obstacles that I had to overcome that make me think the way I think? Oh, okay, cool. Now, what's my natural personality? Once you start connecting all those dots, you will never have self-confidence issues again because you will know how and why you are uniquely qualified to be in the space you're in. You will not only know that, but you will know how, once you go into the space, how to recognize somebody else's personality style immediately, and then know how to bond with that person, connect with that person, work with that person. You make yourself invaluable in life, in the company you're in, to relationships. Self-knowledge, self-love, self-acceptance. When it comes down to it fully, that's what this show really is all about. And so next week, we're going to jump into the personality assessments, and it's a lot to jump into. So I am working to piece it down and to break it up to make it interesting, and also to make it fun and to make it practical, something that you can take away from it. So that's what we're going to get into starting next week. I think that's it, man. Let me see. Does this guy have anything else to say?
And you stick to it, you're achieving something. Instead of a goal that you're failing, essentially, for long periods of time until you reach the goal, you're succeeding every day as long as you adhere to your system. And you end up getting to the same place, but that framing is so much more effective. It gives you the kind of positive feedback you seek. And a system is kind of geared towards psychological well-being. This is the thing I need to do to feel good about the way I'm moving through the world towards whatever end state I'm looking for. Goals don't do that. They just set signposts that you're supposed to look at from afar and move towards. Systems are a much more useful way of engaging with the world towards certain ends and certain outcomes.
Yep, I agree. I would agree. So, setting goals versus setting systems. I think we definitely always need to set goals. I'm a fan of goals. I think goals are necessary because you need to know where you want to end up. However, the objectives, if I just want to make a simple road trip, then I know I want to go to California. I want to cross the country. Well, then I know I don't want to just hop in the car the day of and GPS it. Objectives. I want this to be a fun ride. I want this to be an efficient, happy time. I don't want to be stuck in all the major cities, stuck in traffic. So, what festivals are happening across the country? In what cities? that we can stop in, we can have some fun? What restaurants are world renowned or famous? What shows or plays or activities are happening across the country? I'm not just going across the country, because I'm going to get there and be like, man, that was a long drive, man. Whew. I don't want to ever do that again. No. If I got to go across the country, I'm going to see the country. But I have to make it an objective. I have to create a plan to do that. So I may not make a straight shot. I might do this. I might do that. Because the goal is only half the story. The journey matters as well. The journey matters as well. And I think most of us, we're so in a rush to get to a certain place that we forget to enjoy the journey. We are so afraid of failure that we set not smart goals, but easy goals. And when life gets hard, when we get frustrated, we want to give up on the goal or stop talking about the goal, push the goal to the back of our mind and just go live life. But that thing keep creeping back up because somebody else just made it happen. Somebody else is on the path. Somebody is reminding you that you once had that goal. And you never will find peace or contentment because you knew you should have been doing it. So, kind of is what it is, but I don't like saying it like that because we all have purpose. We all have passions. Fear stops so many people when it truly shouldn't. It truly should not. But if we set objectives, we're less likely to have as much fear because we're breaking things down into manageable pieces and manageable steps. So it's been the last couple of weeks, man, we talked about these emotions and balancing them. And today, we kind of topped that off a little bit with the purpose for the things that we want to do. Goals, objectives. Setting more objectives. Or, for those of you who stuck on the word goals, smart goals. Smart goals. So, thank you for choosing us this morning. Thank you for being here. It's been a fun ride. I think you all are superstars, and I'm excited for the progress that you're making. And I can't wait to be celebrating with you guys on the beaches of the world. I can sit back and say, man, I remember when I knew that guy, I knew that girl. Oh, that's one of the homies right there. Got another strong day. But I'm uniquely qualified to do it. So I got to get my affirmations in, do my gratitudes, hop in the shower. I'm out the door, y'all. So thank you for being here. Remember, you are more than enough. You are more than enough. You are worthy of whatever you want. But there's a process you have to go through. You have to become the person worthy of having that goal. And you are uniquely qualified to do it. So, go out there. Make it happen. Do what you are put here to do. Because trees don't strain to grow. Birds ain't taking lessons on how to fly. They're just being birds. Grass ain't straining to grow. It's just growing. And you, just go be you. Learn the lessons you need to learn. Get over what you got to get over. Get the specialized training you need. Don't be afraid to fail, because failure is part of it. You can't succeed without failure. They go hand in hand. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all be blessed. We'll see you next week. Love each other. Have a great weekend. And get your self-care in. Trust me, it's necessary. Peace.